Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, now bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that her flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you, as always, Wrens. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight, throwing the honorary first pitch, it'll be thrown by Corey Alberti, representing Spunk Fitness. Fired in there. Great throw. Let's play ball and cheer your pilots to victory.
Hello, folks, and thanks for joining us once again here at Colburn Park. I'm Dan Cooter here on Newark Pilots TV, and the Pilots welcome the Utica Blue Sox to town. The first and only time the Blue Sox will come to town this year. Another outer division contest against the Central Division foe. The Pilots able to defeat the Watertown Rapids in the back end of a home-and-home last night. It was a 9-4 victory right here at Colburn Park. And for the Blue Sox, they stay in the Western Division after they lost to Elmira at home last night, 7-2. On the mound tonight for the Pilots is the right-hander from Richburg, New York, Alan Murphy. And strange to see someone who has such a strong resume at the plate this year for the Pilots on the mound is Alan Murphy, third in the perfect game league with 27 RBIs. He had 5 in the game at Watertown the other night, and then 2 more last night right here at Colburn Park. And so he sits at 27 RBIs, but he makes his 5th start of the year on the mound for the Pilots. And as we mentioned for Utica, they'll try to get back on track after a 7-2 loss against the Elmira Pioneers. We're set for first pitch as we're underway, and it's a big cut from Cox to start things off here. Khalid Cox, the center fielder tonight for the Blue Sox from Palmetto, Florida, plays at Savannah State. Murphy misses with this one outside, and so the count goes even at 1-1. Pilots looking for their first back-to-back victories of the season and trying to get into the double digits in the win column. For the Blue Sox in that Central Division race, they sit at 500 at 15-15. They're chasing both Watertown, who we saw here last night, and Mohawk Valley. A 1-2 count to Cox as he's able to hold off on this one outside and away. Catcher tonight for the Pilots is Alex Hernandez. Ty Babin was the catcher last night, and he's been strong at the plate, and so they keep him in the lineup as he will bat in the DH spot tonight. A 2-2 count. Cox sends one to opposite field, and it's going to drop. Tadlock is back at the wall to retrieve. Cox will stride into second with a stand-up leadoff double here to get things going. And so the Blue Sox threatening right away. It's a leadoff double for the center fielder. And it brings the shortstop Hussey into the plate now for Utica. So Murphy will try to get his wits about him after giving up the leadoff double. As Hussey shows bunt but backs off, and it's strike one. Mohammed Hussey from East Elmhurst, New York, plays at Keystone. Hussey was 1 for 4 at the plate last night in the Blue Sox loss. This one skips past the glove of Serfolio and into left field. They're going to round third. Cox coming to the plate. The throw not in time, and he is safe at home. And the Blue Sox are quickly on the board here in the top of the first. They lead 1-0 on the RBI double from Hussey. So the Pilots getting a little taste of their own medicine as they were able to put 4 on the board last night in the first inning. But it's the Blue Sox who strike first tonight, as it's an RBI double for the shortstop for the Blue Sox, Hussey. Ball one here from Murphy, as it's the DH Isaiah Torres stepping in, batting in the 3 spot. Murphy the check down to second, and now the 1-0 offering is fouled off the top of the bat for strike one. We've seen Cox and Hussey. It's Isaiah Torres at the plate. He'll be followed by the catcher Bender, and then Ramos and Bryant. And then the 7th spot is Reinhardt, and then DeLeon, and then in the bottom of the order is Stazak, the right fielder tonight for the Blue Sox. This one chopped to the third baseman, able to corral it this time. The peak to second, and now the toss over to first for out number 1.
Now batting for the Blue Sox, the catcher, number 5, from Quinnipiac University, Colton Bender.
Colton Bender will come to the plate now from Lebanon, Connecticut, plays at Quinnipiac. And with 1 gone, Hussey, after his RBI double, is kept at second. Takes a swing at this one and sends it down the right field line, but just foul, as Bender was looking to bring home the 2nd run of the inning already for Utica. So early on in this one, it's a 1-0 lead for the Blue Sox now. As we mentioned, they sit at 15-15 in the Central Division, as Murphy is able to get strike 2 to fall on the outside corner, as he's got Bender behind in the count 0-2 now. Bender hitting .320 on the year as he makes his 15th appearance with Utica in the 2018 campaign. The 0-2 off the top of the bat, and he loses the bat. It slips right out of his hands. And it comes up against the backstop. He'll retrieve that and reset. And get a little grip to put on that bat. Try to keep it in the hands. Colton Bender, as we mentioned, the catcher tonight for the Blue Sox. His last appearance came back on July 7th. He was 1 for 4 in the 6-1 win over Adirondack. Murphy, another peek down to second. Now the 0-2. It's a fastball that misses up high for ball one. And for Alan Murphy, as we mentioned, third in the perfect game league with 27 RBIs to this point this season. Was able to notch 2 more in the win last night. This one slapped into center by Bender. After it is Bailey, and he mishandles it, and Hussian will come home to score. And so it's an RBI single for Colton Bender. And the Blue Sox double their lead as they lead 2-0 now here in the top of the first, and there's still only 1 gone. It'll bring Nico Ramos, the first baseman for Utica, up to the plate now. Blue Sox finding some early success against the right-hander, Alan Murphy. Ramos takes a crack at the first pitch he sees and fouls it off. Nico Ramos from Rome, New York, plays at Siena College. Murphy, a couple peeks down to first. Now the 0-1 is well outside as it looked to slip out of the hand a little bit from Murphy. But Hernandez jumps out of the catcher position to keep it in front of him. It's a 1-1 count now to Ramos. Nico Ramos making his 26th appearance of the year. Takes a smack at this one in the opposite field, but foul. And so he's behind in the count 1-2. Ramos hitting .234 on the season. He's hitless in his last 2 appearances. Was 3 for 4 in the 4-3 win over Adirondack back on July 6th. His last big game at the plate. Ramos chops off another one foul to stay alive and keep the count at 1-2. Early on here in the top of the first at Colburn Park, Blue Sox have already tallied 2 runs on 3 hits. Looking for more as there's only 1 gone. And 1-2 count here to Ramos. Ramos holds off on the fastball out of the strike zone, and it evens the count at 2. Hernandez, the catcher tonight for the Pilots in the outfield. It's Matt Cerfolio at third, Xavier Warren at short. Justin Graham at second, and the first baseman is Jared DeSantolo. It's Tadlock, Bailey, and Walter in the outfield from left to right for the Pilots tonight. 2-2, just outside, and it runs the count full to the first baseman, Ramos. Blue Sox making Alan Murphy work for the outs here in the top of the first. Murphy ready with the payoff. Runner going. It's smacked down to Graham. He's able to corral it and field it and get it over to first. As it's a hard second out from Ramos. As Graham had to shift to his right and get down on both of his knees to get that one and swing it over to first for out number 2. So the ground out will bring the left fielder Bryant to the plate with 2 gone now. LJ Bryant from Leesburg, Georgia. Looks at strike 1 from Murphy. Bryant hitting .250 on the season as he makes his 20th appearance in the 2018 season with Utica. Breaking ball in the dirt. Down on his knees is Hernandez, and he's able to scoop it and keep Bender at second. Bender was able to advance on the Ramos ground out as he's in scoring position with the Blue Sox already leading 2-0. This one high in sight as Bryant turns the body out of the way for ball number 2. Bryant did not appear last night in the 7-2 loss to Elmira. There's plenty of changes for skipper Joe Martinez. It's a 3-1 count now. One is in there for strike 2. So it's a full count here as Murphy looking to try and get out of the inning as he's already given up 2 on 3 hits so far. Here's the payoff. It's high and inside for ball 4. So the first walk issued of the night by Murphy. And Bryant gets the free pass down to first. So with 2 gone, there's runners on first and second now for Utica. As Jerry Reinhardt, the third baseman for the Blue Sox, is at the plate. Fastball right down the middle for strike 1. And the windup with the 0-1 offering. It's popped high in the air. Martinez loses the mask and will have a play on it. And he's able to make the catch for out number 3. And so the Blue Sox strike early in this one. They lead 2-0 as we head to the home side of the first here at Colburn Park. We welcome you back in here to Colburn Park as we head to the bottom half of the first. Parker Tadlock will be the leadoff man for the Pilots once again tonight, and their strong plate appearance and the win over Watertown right here last night. Tadlock was 2 for 4 and came across to score 3 times for the Pilots. On the mound tonight for Utica is the big 6'6" left-hander, Jacob Randolph. Randolph from Exeter, New Hampshire. He redshirted his freshman year at Central Alabama, and he makes his 7th start. Tadlock smacks one down to the shortstop, fielded, and in time over to first to retire the leadoff man. Hussian down there at short tonight for Utica, able to make the play. And it brings the first baseman, Jared DeSantolo, this top of the order for the Pilots last night. came in clutch for him as DeSantolo was 3 for 5, as he had 3 singles. Look at his first look at Randolph as a breaking ball is in there for strike 1. DeSantolo smacks one into center and has himself a 1-out base hit. And so the Pilots get their first base runner of the evening as they trail 2-0 here in the bottom half of the first inning. And it's Ty Babin, the DH tonight for the Pilots that comes to the plate. And he was the man of the hour with 4 RBIs in the Pilots' win last night against Watertown. Ty Babin hitting .250 on the season. After that 4 RBI game, notched his total to 9 on the year. The catcher from Jackson, New Jersey in the DH spot tonight. Randolph misses with a pair of balls outside, and so it's a 2-0 count to the Jackson, New Jersey native. She's got Jared DeSantolo over at first, with 1 gone here in the bottom half of the first. Another one high, moves the count to 3-0 on Babin. The left-hander Randolph with a 4.0 ERA on the season. This one is just on the inside corner for strike 1. His last appearance came back on July 5th at Watertown in a 9-8 win. He pitched 4 2/3 innings and gave up 3 earned runs on 3 hits, had 4 Ks and 22 balls in the contest. Ball 4 here to Babin as it's upstairs, and there's runners on first and second now for the Pilots. First ball issued by Randolph tonight. And so Matt Serfolio comes to the plate. The third baseman was one of the few Pilots that struggled at the plate last night. He was 0 for 3. But a chance to knock in a run as he has DeSantolo in scoring position. As the Pilots look to return the favor here in the bottom half of the first. They trail the Blue Sox 2-0. Randolph the check to second and tosses in a breaking ball for strike 1. Serfolio hitting .267 on the season. Catcher Colton Bender trying to paint that one in the inside corner, but cannot do so. And so it's a 1-1 count to Serfolio now. Serfolio had a 4-game hit streak snapped last night. He was able to reach on 2 walks. He looks at ball 2 from Randolph. Utica in the 7-2 loss last night at Elmira were out hit 15-7. It was a 3-1 game going to the top of the 8th. And this one skips right through the legs of Bender, and both runners will advance. And so they're at second and third now for Newark. So it's a 3-1 count to Serfolio as Randolph is in jeopardy of walking the bases loaded. He's walked now 19 batters after issuing the walk to Ty Babin. Here's a 3-1 to Serfolio. Swung on, but it's foul down the third baseline. Jerry Reinhardt, the third baseman for the Blue Sox, was there to make the play in case it did go fair, but it was well foul. And so it's a full count now to Cerfolio. She tries to pay dividends here in the bottom half of the first with runners on second and third. Randolph into the windup with the payoff. Chopped foul. And off the foot of Cerfolio, it looked like. He'll walk that one off as the count remains full. Cerfolio sitting on the year with 9 RBIs. Hasn't had one since the 7-6 win over Jamestown here at Colburn Park a couple nights ago, where he was 1 for 4 with an RBI. Randolph gets the signal and is ready to go with another payoff. Cerfolio sends this one down the third baseline and fair. It'll bring DeSantolo around to score. Babin will score as well, and we're tied at 2. Cerfolio slides into second, and it's a pair of RBIs for the Indian Springs, Alabama native, and we are all knocked up at 2.
The catcher, number 6, from Nova Southeastern, Alex Hernandez.
Great at-bat for Matt Cerfolio. He fought off a couple of full count pitches and then sent one right down the third baseline and brought home both of the runs as we are now tied at 2. So Cerfolio's 10th and 11th RBIs of the season now ties us all up and brings the catcher Alex Hernandez to the plate. Hernandez sends one into left, but right at the left fielder, Bryant, for out number 2, a hard out for Hernandez. That keeps Cerfolio on second.
Number 11 from Niagara University, Dawson Bailey.
Dawson Bailey, the center fielder for the Pilots tonight, draws back into the lineup as he was absent in the Watertown win last night. And he has Cerfolio in scoring position, so both teams able to get into the pitcher's heads here early as Alan Murphy gave up 3 hits and 2 earned runs in the top half. And Randolph has given up 2 hits and 2 runs of his own to tie us up early here at Colburn Park. It's ball 1 as Randolph misses upstairs. Dawson Bailey from Porter, New York, hitting just a little below 300 at 288 with 17 hits and 59 at-bats with the Pilots this season. Ball 2 upstairs, and so it's a 2-0 count to the center fielder who plays at Niagara University. Bailey with a 3-game hit streak. His last appearance coming on July 7th in the 7-6 win over Jamestown. Breaking ball falls in for strike 1. It's 2 balls and 1 strike as there's 2 gone in the bottom half of the first. Pair of RBIs for Matt Cerfolio. He sits on second now as Jared DeSantolo and Ty Babin came home to score for the Pilots. Randolph a peek down to second, and the delivery is outside for ball 3. Hitters count now for Dawson Bailey as he tries to extend the inning. The 3-1 now from Randolph. Just in there as Bailey thought for a second it was ball 4, but it's on the inside corner to move the count full. Bailey has been walked 10 times on the year, struck out 19. Here's the payoff. Cranked down the third baseline, but foul as Bailey just a little too far in front of it. For Dawson Bailey, no RBIs for him since the Geneva loss on July 3rd. Another payoff here. Breaking ball hit high in the air to left. Bryant is tracking it as he strides back, and he's able to make the catch for out number 3. It's Matt Cerfolio with a pair of RBIs here in the bottom half of the first that ties us up at 2 between the both teams able to jump on the starting pitchers here tonight as the Blue Sox and Pilots are tied at 2 after 1 inning of play here at Colburn Park. 3 hits for Utica and 2 for Newark. And it's the 8th hitter in the lineup tonight for the Blue Sox, the second baseman, DeLeon, who will lead things off here in the top half of the second. Alan Murphy misses with a fastball that's away and low. So now the 1-0 offering. That one cranked in the left. Bailey's tracking it, and he's able to make the catch. So a hard out one retires the leadoff man. Bailey almost overran that one as he had to reach low behind him, as he got a good first jump on that one and is able to make the catch. Bottom of the order now with the right fielder, Stazak, for Utica. He looks at ball 1, low and away. Stazak, as he makes his 16th appearance of the year, has 5 hits and 27 at-bats, hitting a 185 average on the season. Stazak hitless in his last 5. We'll try to end the cold streak here tonight. So he hits this one high into shallow right center. Bailey is there to make the catch for out number 2.
Now batting for the Blue Sox, their center fielder, number 26, from Savannah State University, Kyle Cox.
So Murphy gets a pair of flyouts to start the inning off, and it's the top of the order with Cox, who is 1 for 1, had a double to lead things off in the top half of the first. Came around to score the first run of the game for the Blue Sox. Murphy trying to dial things in here in the top of the second after giving up 2 runs on 3 hits. And the Utica's first crack of the bats at him. There's the 1-0. Big swing and a miss as the count goes to 1-1. Cox was one of the bright spots last night in the 7-2 loss. He was 2 for 4 with an RBI. There's the 1-1. Goes with the breaking ball, but it doesn't come around as it misses away for ball number 2. Cox leads the team in batting average at .381, has 37 hits and 97 at-bats, as he takes a big swing and misses this one to even the count up at 2-2. Cox also leads the team in RBIs with 20. It's a 2-2 count as he tries to keep the inning alive for the Blue Sox. And a big whiff here. Hernandez drops it. He'll make the throw down to first, and it gets over the head of DeSantolo. And that's going to be an E2 as Hernandez chucks that one high and over the glove of DeSantolo. And so the error from Alex Hernandez extends the inning for Utica and brings the shortstop Hussian back to the plate. Hussian 1 for 1 as he had that RBI double that brought Cox around to score in the top half of the first. He later would come around to score as well. So it's a 0-1 count to the shortstop. Swings on this one and hits it into the gap and left and has himself a base hit. And so Hussian 2 for 2 on the evening. And only time will tell if this error from Hernandez comes back to bite the Pilots, but there's runners on first and second for the DH Torres now, who grounded out in the first. First error of the game for either team as Torres pops one up foul. Blue Sox with 6 hitters hitting over 300. Isaiah Torres is one of them, hitting 344 on the season. So he looks at strike 2 from Alan Murphy. Torres with 8 RBIs on the season, has 6 doubles on 33 hits. Behind the count 0-2. Cracks this one down to the third baseman, Cerfolio. He's able to field it and make the play over to first. So an error goes harmless here in the top half of the second. Another hit for Utica, but the score remains 2-2 as we head to the bottom half of the second. Jake Walter, the right fielder tonight from the Pilots from Cochise College, will lead things off as it's the 7, 8, 9 hitters at the bottom of the order for Newark. Discussion here, but we're ready to go as the left-hander Jacob Randolph is back on the mound, and he tosses in strike 1 to Walter. Little discussion here as Randolph seems to be unhappy about something. So he backs off the mound and looks down to his respective dugout. But a deep breath from him, and he's ready to go now. Breaking ball is high for ball 1. So it's a 1-1 count to Walter. And so it's actually a 2-1 count. But Walter flies this one high into the air. It's right at the second baseman, DeLeon, and he's able to make the play for out number 1. Why was that called the ball? It was a balk. Oh, okay. So it was a balk from Jacob Randolph. I got 2 pitchers up here with me tonight, so they know what's going on. But Walter flies out right to the second baseman, DeLeon, for out number 1. It brings the shortstop, Xavier Warren, to the plate. Warren was 2 for 4 last night in the win over Watertown. And he smacks this one to center and has himself a 1-out base hit.
Now batting for the Pilots, the second baseman from St. John Fisher College, number 12,
Justin Graham from Webster, New York, comes to the plate now. Had an RBI single last evening as he's batting in the bottom of the order at the 9th spot tonight for Newark. Graham sees the first pitch into shallow center, and a good play there by Cox in center field to make the sprinting catch for out number 2.
Now batting for the Pilots, your left fielder, number 2 from Angelo State University.
Cox looked like he might not be able to get that one at first, but a good first step allows him to scoop it with the glove as it keeps Warren on first, and there's 2 gone in the top of the order with Parker Tadlock back up, grounded out in the first inning. Randolph calling for a new ball now. With 2 gone here in the bottom half of the second, both pitchers starting to settle into this game. Both giving up 2 earned runs respectively as we're tied at 2 between the Blue Sox and the Pilots here this evening. Tadlock checks his swing but fouls it off for strike number 1. For Parker Tadlock, hitting .400 on the year, he's second in the perfect game league in batting average for players who have played more than 15 games. So an impressive stat line for him. As he looks at strike 2 and falls behind in the count, 0-2 now. Tadlock, as we touched on last night, has a slew of multi-hit games, as he now has 6 multi-hit games in his last 7 games that he has appeared on, and he hits this one into right for a blooper. Warren rounds second, but will come back in. And so it's a 2-out base knock for Parker Tadlock to extend the inning here for Newark in the bottom half of the second. Warren moves in his scoring position as it's 3 games in a row with a hit now for Parker Tadlock. As we mentioned, 2 for 4 last night. Came across to score 3 times. Jared DeSantolo had a 1-out single his first time up. Came around to score 1 of the 2 runs for Newark. He's batting .313 on the season. A 3-game hit streak extended to 4 now. As he hits one into left, it's going to drop for a base hit. Warren will round and come to score, and the Pilots take the lead. So some good 2-out work here from Newark, as Parker Tadlock and Jared DeSantolo get a pair of hits and bring Xavier Warren around to score, as Newark has their first lead of the night. The RBI single is DeSantolo's 6th of the season, as he now has 22 hits. And it brings Ty Babin back to the plate. Babin was able to reach on a walk. He foul tips this one for strike one right into the glove of Bender. So Randolph not able to get out of the inning, and he gives up his third earned run on 5 hits now for the Pilots. With the RBI single, Parker Tadlock was able to move around to second, with still 2 gone here in the bottom half of the second inning. Babin smacks one up the center, but there to make the play is DeLeon for out number 3. And so the Pilots strand 2 here in the bottom half of the second, but add another run and have their first lead of the night. They lead the Blue Sox 3-2 as we head to the top half of the third. Colton Bender, the catcher from Quinnipiac University, will lead things off in the top frame of the third. His Blue Sox trailed the Pilots 3-2. Pilots last night were able to get 6 runs in the first 2 innings against Watertown. They get 3 in the first 2 innings tonight. So they try to get back-to-back wins for the first time this 2018 season. Murphy misses with this one in the dirt, so it's a 2-0 count to start off Bender, who is 1 for 1 with an RBI single in the top half of the first. The 4-5-6 hitters for Utica as this one's pop foul. Chasing after it is DeSantolo, and he's able to get the underhand grab for out number 1. Nice play by first baseman Jared DeSantolo as Bender fouls it off for out number 1 and brings Ramos, the first baseman who grounded out, back to the plate. Big whiff from Ramos as Murphy gets him with the breaking ball for a strike 1. For Alan Murphy, as we mentioned, making his 5th start on the mound this year with the Pilots, has a 1-2 record and a 4.95 ERA. Ramos smacks this one down to DeSantolo. He bobbles it, and the play to first, not in time as Ramos is able to beat the throw. And it's going to be an E3 charge to DeSantolo. And so there's still 1 gone and a base runner now for the Blue Sox at first base. Second error of the night for Newark. They have an error in back-to-back innings now. It brings L.J. Bryant, the left fielder, who was able to reach on a walk. The only walk Murphy has issued tonight. Now this one is a blooper. Graham chasing at second, loses the hat, but able to make the catch. as the speedy second baseman Justin Graham is able to field that one for out number 2. So a quick second out brings Jerry Reinhardt to the plate. Reinhardt 0 for 1 as he hit one foul that Hernandez was able to catch in his first plate appearance. Looks at strike 1 here from Murphy. Breaking ball, foul tipped right into the glove of Hernandez as he is behind in the count now 0-2. One high in sight in the hands as Reinhardt is able to lay off. And so it's 1 ball and 2 strikes now to the third baseman. Ramos is still over on first after being able to reach on the DeSantolo error. Breaking ball. Able to hold off there is Reinhardt as it was in the dirt, and it evens the count at 2 now. A 3-2 Pilots lead here at Colburn Park as there's 2 gone in the top half of the third. Murphy ready with the 2-2 offering. Chopped into right. Walter chasing it down and is able to make the catch to retire the side. And so the Blue Sox strand one here in the top half of the third, and they still trail the Pilots 3-2 here at Colburn Park. Dan Cooter here on NewarkPilots.tv as we welcome you back in. It's a 3-2 Pilots lead as we head to the bottom half of the third, and it's Matt Serfolio, the third baseman, leading things off. As Serfolio had a pair of RBIs on a double to left field, his first plate appearance, showing bunt here, and that attracts the attention of the infield from Utica, but he backs off for strike 1. Maybe just trying to keep him honest. It's a 0-1 count to Serfolio. Reinhardt, the third baseman, playing a couple steps into the dirt. Serfolio chops one foul off a home plate and is behind 0-2 now. For the left-hander from Exeter, New Hampshire, Jacob Randolph, he's given up 3 earned runs on 5 hits as he starts his third inning of work here tonight. Serfolio hits one to left on an 0-2 count and has himself a leadoff base hit, and now it bobbles it, and Serfolio's going to look for second, and he was just about halfway there, and he'll turn around and head back to first after the bobble by the left fielder, Bryant. attracted the attention of Serfolio as he took a peek, but ultimately as a leadoff single. So a single and double for Matt Serfolio tonight now, and it's Alex Hernandez, the catcher, who flew out in the first, back at the plate. Randolph, as we mentioned, has a 4.0 ERA, making his 7th start of the year for the Blue Sox. And Hernandez chops one of the third basemen, and it skips by him and into left. And so a base hit for Hernandez as Reinhardt could not control the hop. And 7 hits now for the Pilots already in this one. Hernandez's single advances Serfolio into scoring position at second and brings Dawson Bailey back to the plate. Bailey showing bunt, and he'll lay one down right in front of home plate. Charging in is Ramos at first base, and now it skips over the second baseman, DeLeon. Coming in to score is Serfolio, and runners at the corners as Pilots extend their lead to 4-2 now. It'll be an error charged to Ramos at first as he charged in on the bunt. The second baseman, DeLeon, was covering at first and was not able to catch it on the hop as Ramos seemed to slip after coming in to field it. He cleanly fielded it, but couldn't catch his footing right, and I think that caused the throw to be a little arid and allowed Bailey to reach, and so there's still no outs and runners at the corners for the Pilots. It's the first error of the night for Utica, and it gives the Pilots a 4-2 lead. Walter, he smacks one to center, and it's a base hit and an RBI for him as Hernandez comes home to score. Pilots all over Randolph here tonight. 8 hits on the evening, and rolling on in the bottom half of the third, and they lead 5-2. Runners on first and second for the Pilots. This is the shortstop, Xavier Warren, back at the plate. He's showing bunt now. Backs off as it's a little high, but it'll fall in for a strike. The 0-1. Showing bunt again is Warren. He backs off as this one is low. Ramos charging in. I'm sure Warren is enticed to throw the bunt down the first baseline and see if Ramos can make a play this second time around. He allowed Bailey to get on with the error. The 1-1. Warren will not show bunt this time as it's inside for strike 2. One, two is outside. So a 2-2 count to Warren now. With still none gone here, the Pilots have tacked on 2 more runs. And they lead the Central Division Utica Blue Sox 5-2 here at Colburn Park. Randolph a couple peeks down to second. Now the delivery. Smack down the third baseline. It's going to be fair. Bounces going the Pilots' way as Bailey jogs it into home plate and scores the 6th run of the night for the Pilots.
Now batting for the Pilots, their second baseman from St. John Fisher, number 12, Justin Graham.
So the error allows Dawson Bailey to come around and score. And Xavier Warren picks up an RBI. It's a 4-run lead now for Newark at 6-2, and Martinez will come out to the mound to talk to Randolph, as he has given up 9 hits and 6 earned runs already here in the 3rd inning of play, and he still hasn't recorded out one. A lot of these Pilots batters getting in on the act early and often. We saw such a similar storyline when Watertown was in town last night. As we mentioned, 6 runs in the first 2 innings of play, which would lead to a 9-4 win for the Pilots. They've jumped out here on the left-hander, Jacob Randolph. And they lead Utica 6-2 now. Runners at second and third for Newark after the RBI double from Xavier Warren. It's the bottom of the order with Justin Graham now, who is 0 for 1. He flew out in the 2nd inning. Graham will swing away at this one and miss for strike 1. The 0-1 is a breaking ball that catches the outside corner, and so it's an 0-2 count to Justin Graham. Randolph looking for the first out of the inning after the mound visit from head coach Joe Martinez of the Utica Blue Sox. Randolph ready with the 0-2 offering. Swung on and missed by Graham, and so Randolph gets the K for out number 1. It's the first strikeout of the evening for Randolph, as Justin Graham goes down swinging. Parker Tadlock had a single in the 2nd inning, as he is 1 for 2 already on the evening, making his 3rd trip to the plate. This one well inside for ball 1. One 0 count to Tadlock. Walters down on third. Tadlock swings at this one, skips off the glove of Randolph. A tough play charging in. The throw is well wide, and a pair of runs will come home to score for Newark as Tadlock stands into second, and it's an 8-2 Pilots lead now.
Now batting for the Pilots, their first baseman from Florida Atlantic University, number 31.
And so for Parker Tadlock, continues to be hot. Martinez will signal to the bullpen as Randolph's night is over. He can't get out of the 3rd inning as he leaves the game down 8-2, as he gave up 10 hits and 8 earned runs in this one. As Martinez will call on to the bullpen. Blue Sox trailing the Pilots 8-2 with 1 gone here in the bottom of the 3rd. We'll be right back with the new pitcher for Utica here at Colburn Park. So Joe Martinez has to call onto his bullpen, as it's the right-hander from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Leon Finney, who comes in the game now, as he makes his 11th appearance of the year with Utica as a 8.25 ERA. He hasn't given up an earned run in his last 4 appearances, but strictly a reliever as he hasn't started any games with the Blue Sox. And the unique wind-up and delivery for Finney, so he comes pretty far from the outside as DeSantolo fouls this one up. Tadlock is over at second as the Pilots have gotten 5 here in the bottom half of the third. They lead the Blue Sox 8-2. We play on here at Colburn Park. DeSantolo making his 3rd plate appearance of the night is 2 for 2 with a pair of singles and an RBI to his name. This one's inside and it catches DeSantolo on the foot. And so Tadlock has to keep put at second. That one didn't look like it felt good from DeSantolo's end as he limps it off and heads down to first base.
Now batting for the Pilots, their designated hitter from Campbell University, number 16, Ty Babin.
So it's tough go for Utica as they've given up a slew of runs here early on in this one. They trail the Pilots 8-2, and Finney hits the first batter he sees. So there's runners on first and second for Newark with 1 gone here in the bottom half of the third. For Leon Finney, his last appearance came on July 6th in a 4-3 win over Adirondack. It's Ty Babin, the DH tonight for the Pilots, back at the plate. Pilots making their 3rd trip through the order. They're already at double digits in the hit column with 10, 2 errors apiece. Another one just allowed a couple runs to come home for the Pilots. It's a 2-0 count to Babin. For Finney, he's pitched 12 innings in his 10 appearances he's made with Utica this year, has 14 strikeouts, has issued 11 walks and given up 11 hits. Hasn't given up a hit in his last 4 appearances. Pardon me, he did give up a hit in the Adirondack game, but hadn't given up in his past 3 appearances before that. So he tries to limit the damage here for Utica. They trail early in this one. It's a 2-1 count to Babin. Runners at first and second for Newark. Still 1 gone. There's the 2-1. Little in on the hands for Babin, but it is called for a strike, and he evens the count at 2-2. For Utica, as we mentioned, they play in that Central Division and are sitting at 500 on the year at 15-15. Here's the 2-2. Swung on and missed by Babin, and so Finney gets the K. His first since coming on, and there's 2 gone.
So third baseman from Columbia University, number 3, Matt Serpolio.
So after hitting his first batter, he's able to get the strikeout on Babin, and it brings Matt Serfolio, who is 2 for 2 on the night, had 2 RBIs on a double back in the first, and then another single came around to score, as the Pilots have batted around here now in the 3rd inning. He led off things early on here in the 3rd inning. And he'll face Finney for the first time as he looks at strike 1 from the right-hander. 0-1 count to the third baseman, Surfolio, as Finney, the right-hander who plays at Lackawanna Community College, misses with this one outside to even the count at 1-1. Pilots chase Randolph from the mound as he couldn't get out of the third inning, giving up 8 runs on 10 hits to Newark. As Pilots lead this one 8-2. 1-1 count to Surfolio. This one's in the dirt. Bender is able to scoop it on the hop, keep the runners at first and second. Two balls and 1 strike now to Matt Surfolio. He lays off for the fastball outside. It's a 3-1 count to the third baseman who plays at Columbia. Surfolio, as we mentioned, was one of the few hitters that struggled against Watertown last night, but he's made up for it here as he is already 2 for 2 in the evening. Has a 3-1 count. That one's inside for ball 4, and it's a 2-out walk for Finney, and it loads the bases.
Now batting for the Pilots' third catcher from Nova Southeastern, number 6, Alex Hernandez.
Alex Hernandez had an RBI single right here in the third inning. That started off the 5-run third. That is still continuing with the bases loaded and 2 gone. Finney issues his first walk since coming on. So he tries to get out of the inning. Hernandez a swing and a miss for strike 1. As he's the second Pilot on the team to make it to double digits in RBIs. Alan Murphy, I don't think anyone's catching him as he has 27. Catcher from Pembroke Pines, Florida, now with 10 RBIs on the season. He gets this one off the top of the bat and sends it foul into the backstop as he is in an 0-2 hole now. Hernandez's last appearance came during the game at Watertown in the 12-6 defeat. He was 1 for 5 with a pair of strikeouts. Was hitless in his last 3 before that hit against Watertown. Was come back with an RBI here tonight. Finney into the windup with the 0-2 offering. Hernandez can't check his swing on the fastball upstairs, and so Finney gets out of the inning, but the Pilots add 5 here in the bottom half of the third. They lead the Blue Sox 8-2 here at Colburn Park.
baseman from Central Alabama Community College, number 11, Louis DeLeon.
Louis DeLeon will try to start the rally here for the Blue Sox in the top of the fourth after a Blue Sox got off running in this one early. They scored 2 in the top frame of the first, but the Pirates returned the favor with 2 in the bottom half and then 1 more in the second. And a big 5-run third has them out to an 8-2 lead. They're out hitting the Blue Sox 10-4 in the only meeting between these two teams. DeLeon smacks one into center. Bailey tracking it and able to make the catch for out number 1.
Now batting for the Blue Sox, the right fielder from Lackawanna Community College, number 3, DJ Stazak.
Stazak, the right fielder at the bottom of the order, comes to the plate now as he flew out in the second inning for the Blue Sox. Murphy seems to have settled down a little bit here after giving up the 2 runs in the top half of the first. Breaking ball gets Stazak to whiff at this one. He gets a chant from the Pilots dugout. As Stazak will step back in. He is 0 for 1 as he flew out in the second inning. The 0-1 is just a little bit low and outside. Hernandez lost the handle on that one. For Alan Murphy, if you watched any games here at Colburn Park, he's obviously been strong at the plate. This one's chopped right back to him. He's able to field it and make the flip over to first for the second out of the inning, as he's hitting an impressive .385 with 30 hits and 78 bats. 9 doubles, 4 triples, 4 home runs, and 27 RBIs. You could say it's been a pretty successful campaign to go along with his pitching stats. And for Alan Murphy, his 5th start of the year, he's good for just about 5 innings of work, as he's 4 2/3 through here. The longest he's gone is 5 1/3 in the 13-4 loss to Jamestown. He gave up 4 earned runs and 4 hits. As the Jammers in that one really took advantage once Murphy left the game. And in his last start, gave up 9 hits and 5 earned runs in the 12-3 loss to Elmira. This one smacked to the second baseman, Graham. He's able to field it and make the play over to first. So a quick 1-2-3 inning for Alan Murphy. Retires the side as we head to the bottom of the 4th. As I'm Dan Cooter here on Newark Pilots TV. Dan Cooter welcoming you back in here to Colburn Park. It's an 8-2 Pilots lead as we head to the bottom half of the 4th after the 5-run third from the Pilots. Alan Murphy got a good rest and came back onto the mound in the 4th and pitched a 1-2-3 inning. And so the Pilots still out hitting the Blue Sox 10-4, 2 errors apiece for both sides. As Dawson Bailey, the center fielder from Porter, New York, who will lead things off in the bottom half of the fourth for the Pilots. Bailey is 0 for 2. He's able to reach on an error in the third. He swings at the first pitch he sees, but it is right at the right fielder Stazak for out number 1. Some good wood on that one from Dawson Bailey, but can't get the luck of the draw on that hit as it goes right to the right fielder Stazak. And so the leadoff man is retired, and Jake Walter, who had a RBI single his last time up, comes to the plate. Walter looks at strike 1 from Finney as he sees the right-hander from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania for the first time tonight after Jacob Randolph was chased from this game just last inning in the third. Walter in on the hands, and he hits it into left. A good piece of hitting from the right fielder from East Greenbush, New York. That one in on the hands and hooks it into left in the gap for a 1-out base hit, his second of the game. Xavier Warren, it's been a good night at the plate for him as a single and a double. He had an RBI double in the third inning, came around to score as well. The shortstop from Southfield, Michigan, has really been a mainstay on this team this year. This one escapes the catcher. Bender throws the mask down, but Walter keeps put at first. So a sense of urgency there from Bender as he couldn't find that ball for a second. And he thought for sure Walter was going to take off this second base, but Walter stays put at first, and so it's a 1-0 count to the shortstop Warren now. This one misses low for ball 2. Warren is batting it about .231 on the year coming into the night. Was 2 for 4, as we mentioned last evening. So he makes his 25th appearance of the year with the Pilots. Bender able to catch this one as Finney tosses in ball 3 outside, a 3-0 count with 1 gone here in the bottom half of the fourth. Pilots leading the Blue Sox 8-2, coming behind 11 hits from this Newark batting order tonight. Finney will have to toss in a strike here in the 3-0, and it's low and in the dirt. And it's a 4-0 count and a walk for Warren. 4 straight balls.
Now batting for your Newark Pilots, the second baseman from St. John Fisher, number 12, Justin Graham.
Justin Graham is 0 for 2, struck out his last plate appearance. And he'll come into the game now. The second baseman from Webster, New York, plays at St. John Fisher College. With runners on first and second and 1 gone now for the Pilots. The 1-out walk puts Warren down at first base. Bat resting on the shoulder for Graham, and he looks at ball 1 outside from Finney. One-0 count as Finney is able to toss in a strike to even up the count now. I think this is a barn burner. Bottom of the fourth, Adirondack is beating Watertown 10-6. Plenty of runs to go around. As strike 2 is painted on the inside corner to Graham. So Watertown, after getting pummeled in the first 2 innings as they gave up 6 runs, they've given up 10 to Adirondack, and they're not even through the fourth yet. A 1-2 count to Graham. Finney with the offering, a breaking ball and a swing and a miss from Graham. His second straight strikeout is out number 2.
Now batting for the Pilots, their left fielder from Angelo State University, number 2, Parker Tappa.
Fourth time through the order now for Newark, and Parker Tadlock, another multi-hit game for himself, as a pair of singles and is 2 for 3 with an RBI in his last plate appearance. Tadlock, seen him all around the outfield. He's in left field tonight. The Georgetown, Texas native, plays at Angelo State. Said strike one from Finney, pardon me. Blue Sox sitting at 4.5 games behind Mohawk Valley coming into tonight. The Diamond Dogs at 19-10 on the year. Strike two to Tadlock, him behind the count, 0-2. Mohawk Valley second in the perfect game league, as Jamestown in this West Division with Newark sits at 20-9. They're 7.5 games clear of both Geneva and Elmira. This is the 0-2. Chopped to the second baseman, or the shortstop, pardon me, Husian. He's able to make the play to second to retire the side. And so Finney just trying to keep Utica around in this game, as he's able to get out of the inning and keep us at a 8-2 ball game. Eight-2 Pilots lead as we head to the top of the fifth. It was a quick 1-2-3 inning for Alan Murphy. It's the Blue Sox being out hit 11-4 through 4 innings of play. The shortstop Husian is able to hold off on the fastball low, and so it's ball one. Husian is 2 for 2 with a single and a double, as an RBI as well. This one's high and inside for ball two. Husian, the shortstop from East Elmhurst, New York, batting .327 on the year as he swings one down the left field line and just foul. Husian, a 5-game hit streak for him now after the pair of hits tonight. Was 1 for 4 in the Elmira loss last evening. Has 14 RBIs coming into tonight, 15 now. Husian disappointed as he looks at strike two, and it evens the count at 2-2. So he leads things off here in the top half of the fifth. The 2-2 from Murphy now. He goes with the breaking ball, but it misses in the dirt. And it runs the count full to the leadoff man now. Husian, who just finished up his junior year at Keystone, will wait for the payoff pitch now from Alan Murphy. It's smacked in the left, and it's a base hit. So another good at-bat from Hussian as he is 3 for 3 in the evening and is on with a leadoff base hit. Alan Murphy, the 5th hit he has given up tonight. And the DH, Isaiah Torres, 0 for 2 with a pair of groundouts, comes back to the plate. He smacks one high into the air in center. Coming into shallow center now is Bailey, and he's able to make the catch for the first out of the inning.
Catcher from Utica University, number 5, Colton Bender.
Some good wood on that one for Isaiah Torres, but it just hung up in the air. And the center fielder, Dawson Bailey, able to come in and make the play for out number 1. Murphy just trying to preserve that 8-2 lead as his offensive power lineup tonight for the Pilots has given him a good lead. It's good to see some other hitters getting involved as Alan Murphy is usually the one doing the hitting for the Pilots. It's one in the dirt as Hernandez is able to keep it in front of him. For Alan Murphy, who is listed as a pitcher on the roster, as this one is hit into shallow right. Bailey charging after it, but it's going to drop for a base hit. And Hussian is into second. Difficult play for Bailey as him and Walter came together. Bailey lost his hat.
First baseman from Siena College, number 28, Nico Ramos.
And Nico Ramos comes to the plate now as Bender gets his single as he gets that one to drop in. So runners on first and second for the Blue Sox with 1 gone in the top of the 5th, trying to cut into that 8-2 Pilots lead. It was a big 3rd inning. 5 runs came across the score for Newark. That allowed them to jump up to the 6-run lead. The first baseman, Ramos, is 0 for 2, was able to reach on an error. His last plate appearance. It's a 2-0 count as Alan Murphy misses with a pair of breaking balls low to start off Ramos. Ramos from Rome, New York, plays his college baseball at Siena College. 2-0 count. Murphy misses outside, and he's in danger of walking the bases loaded. And for the Blue Sox, obviously plenty of time to scratch and claw their way back into this one. With 1 gone, Ramos will most likely be laying off here on the 3-0. And Murphy is able to find the strike zone and get the count to 3-1. As we mentioned, for Alan Murphy, he is listed as a pitcher, did not appear in his first matchup until June 8th for the Pilots. Oh, and Ramos tossed the bat down to the dugout, and now he's got to make the walk of shame to go get it. Oh, his teammate's going to help him out. That's a good move. That's a real good move. Bryant helping out his buddy as Ramos has to step back in after he thought he had a 1-out walk to load the bases up, but it's a full count now. Murphy will step off as him and Hernandez try to get the signal right. Murphy looking for a big second out with the Blue Sox threatening here in the top of the 5th. Runners on first and second. And with 1 gone, the payoff now from Murphy. Chopped off foul by Ramos to keep the count all full. So Murphy will square up with Ramos again for another 3-2 offering. Some encouragement from Hussey at second, and Ramos hits one deep into center. Bailey looking back at the wall, off of it. Hussey charging, he's around third. Martinez waving him in. And Ramos gets an RBI. It's an 8-3 ball game, and that one was close to exiting Colburn Park. But Murphy catches a break as it stays in, as it was deep into center field. It's 4:02 all the way back to where the American flag is in center, and it was just left of that as Dawson Bailey watched it hit off the wall. And it drives in a run and cuts into the Pilots' lead. It's 5 now at 8-3. And now this one is hit into center. Bailey, lots of action for him in this inning. And he makes the sliding play. Tagging up is Bender. The throw home. Oh, DeSantolo cut it off. So it looked like there might have been a play at the plate, but DeSantolo elected to go to second with it. But it brings in another run. And it's 2 here in the top of the 5th and an 8-4 ball game now. So Bryant gets the sac fly to center to bring in the fourth run of the night for Utica. Murphy misses in the dirt. And as we mentioned for Alan Murphy, he's good for just about 5 innings. And that's what he's gone. He hasn't gone further than 5 1/3. And we'll see how long Matt Colbert lets him go tonight. So he's looking for the final out of the inning. 1-0 count. Misses inside to Reinhardt. Murphy tosses in a fastball inside for strike 1. It's a 2-1 count with Ramos, the lone runner, at second now for Utica. This one misses outside for ball 3. It's a 3-1 count. Reinhardt 0 for 2. He flew out back in the 3rd inning. Three-one offering swung on and fouled off the top of the bat and into the crowd. And so it's a full count for Reinhardt. Seven hits now for Utica. They've added a pair here in the top of the 5th to cut into that Pilots lead, as it's an 8-4 ball game here on a Wednesday night at Colburn Park. Oh, it's Tuesday night. Wow, I'll get my days screwed up. It's a breaking ball. Is called in there for strike 3. So Murphy limits the damage with Utica stranding a runner over at second. But they get 2 back here in the top of the 5th. It's an 8-4 ball game, far from over here at Colburn Park. We'll head to the bottom of the 5th when we come back. Leon Finney will continue on the mound for the Blue Sox as his Utica team trails 8-4 to the Newark Pilots. Blue Sox able to get a pair in the top half to fifth to cut into that Newark lead. It's the first baseman, Jared DeSantolo, back at the plate for his fourth time tonight. Was hit by a pitch as he looks at strike two and is behind in the count 0-2 to lead things off in the bottom frame of the fifth. DeSantolo from Tampa, Florida, plays at Florida Atlantic University, trying to stay alive here in the 0-2. It's outside from Finney as DeSantolo doesn't chase it. It's 1 ball and 2 strikes. DeSantolo was 2 for 2 with a pair of singles and an RBI to his name before being hit by that pitch by Finney his last time up. Finney the 1-2, a breaking ball. DeSantolo late to get on that one, but he fouls it off into the Blue Sox dugout. Count remains at 0-2. Yeah, 11 hits for the Pilots, 7 for the Blue Sox, and 2 errors apiece. We play the home side of the fifth here at Colburn Park. One, 2 count to DeSantolo. Finney with the offering. Ooh, that one looked like it was in there, and Finney can't believe it from my vantage point. It pushes the count to 2-2 as Finney still grinning about it on the mound, and it looked like it was strike 3 from here. But we don't have the strike zone like they do in the majors, so with the call made, it's a 2-2 count to DeSantolo now. DeSantolo, does he hold off? There was no call. And with no call, they just tag up, and he's going to be out for strike 3. DeSantolo kind of questioning that one. But he goes down on strikes for out number 1. You're in the bottom half of the fifth now. DH Ty Babin comes up. Struck out against Finney, his last plate appearance. Babin can't hold off on the fastball in the dirt, so it's strike 1 to the catcher from Jackson, New Jersey. Ty Babin hits one to opposite field, but it's going to be caught there by Bryant for out number 2, a hard out. But there's 2 gone here in the bottom half of the fifth. Leon Finney has done his job since coming into the game. Jacob Randolph, all 8 runs on that board. He's responsible for them. And so Finney has been able to come on and keep Utica in this game. They've gotten 2 runs back, and they trail 8-4. The Pilots trying to get back-to-back wins and somehow crawl their way back into this Western Division race. As the Jamestown Jammers, as we've highlighted multiple times, leading the league with 20 wins. This one well outside as Finney loses control of it, but Bender able to snare the glove out and make the catch. With Matt Serfolio back at the plate. Looks at a strike that evens the count at 1-1. Serfolio looks at a pair of strikes from Finney. Is behind in the count 1-2 now. Here's the 1-2. In the dirt as it's a breaking ball that Serfolio was able to lay off of. And it moves the count even once again at 2-2. Then the inning with 2 gone. He chops one to the second baseman to Leon. He's able to field it and make the play over to first. So it's a 1-2-3 inning for Leon Finney. as these look strong coming on for Jacob Randolph in relief. Blue Sox still trail 8-4. We'll head to the top of the 6th when we come back. Eight 8-4 lead for the Pilots as we head to the top of the 6th, and a new pitcher for Newark as it's the right-hander from Union, Kentucky, Zach Mann, taking over on the mound. So Alan Murphy goes 5 innings, giving up 7 hits and 4 earned runs. As DeLeon, the second baseman for Utica, will lead the inning off. He fouls off the first pitch he sees from Mann for strike 1. Leon is 0 for 2 with a pair of flyouts tonight. One's in the dirt, and so it evens the count up at 1-1. Mann stands at 6'4", 225. Just finished up his sophomore year at Chattanooga State, and he makes his 10th appearance on the mound. His 9th relief appearance of the year for the Pilots. This one chopped down to the shortstop, pardon me. Warren, the hot throw is high, and it gets over the head of DeSantolo. And so it's an E6 and allows a leadoff man to get on base for the Blue Sox, and that's what you really want to avoid if you're Newark right now. With this 4-run lead, which was 8-2 at one point. It's the 3rd error of the night for the Pilots, and what was a routine ground ball to Xavier Warren, but the throw was high and DeSantolo could not come down with it. And it allows the second baseman, DeLeon, to get on board. Mann misses with ball 1 to the bottom of the order with Stazak, the right fielder, 0 for 2, grounded out back in the 4th inning. For Zach Mann, his last appearance came on July 3rd at Geneva in a 9-5 loss. He gave up 6 runs and 5 hits and 2 1/3 innings of work. Stazak follows this one off the top of the bat for strike 1. Zach Mann is a 6.51 ERA with 11 strikeouts and 22 walks. Has given up 20 hits so far this season. The only Pilot on this team making his second season with Newark. Big swing and a miss from Stazak as he whiffs at a fastball low, and he's behind in the count 1-2 now. Stazak from Rochester, New York, plays at Lackawanna College along with the pitcher Leon Finney, who we've seen in the last couple innings. Man misses with this one inside, and so he evens the count up at 2-2. Man ready with the 2-2 offer, runner going, but it's fouled off, and so Leon will have to retreat back to first base. Still a 2-2 count after the foul ball. This man will take a peek over to first. And that's the first throw over to first by any pitcher we've seen tonight. So the count's still 2-2. Man keeping tabs on DeLeon down at first. Here's the throw. It's in the dirt. Hernandez keeps it in front of him, and it runs the count full. And as we mentioned with Zach Mann, he has issued 22 walks this season, so it's been his Achilles heel. He'll try to avoid it here. So it's a full count to Stazak. Top of the order next for Utica with none gone here at the top of the sixth. Runner going again. It's in the dirt. Hernandez does a good job to snare it, but it's a walk that puts runners on first and second. And as we said, this game far from over here at Colburn Park in the top of the sixth. Utica trying to get themselves back into it in prime position to add more runs with none gone. And the top of the order now for Utica. And probably a bunt situation for the leadoff man, Cox. Cox, plenty of speed. He leads the team in stolen bases with 12. We'll see if he lays down a bunt here. He will show bunt, but he backs off as it's a ball outside for Mann. Runners on first and second with none gone at the top of the sixth. A 1-0 count to Cox. He'll show bunt again. He'll lay this one down the third baseline. Caught by Hernandez, but foul as it skipped off the dirt. And it'll be strike one to the center fielder. Glee Cox from Palmetto, Florida, plays his college baseball at Savannah State. As we mentioned, leads the team with a .381 batting average. Trying to move the base runners as he failed to lay down the bunt. 1-1 count. He won't show it here as a breaking ball misses outside for 2 balls and 1 strike. Man with a 2-1 offering. A big cut by Cox as it was in on the hands and he missed on that one, and it evens the count at 2-2. Cox second on the team in strikeouts with 27. Him and Cameron Feltz have appeared in the most games with 29. Feltz not in the lineup tonight. He leads the team in strikeouts with 37 on the year. 2-2 count now to Cox. Well outside for ball 3, and it runs the count full. Zach Mann still looking for the first out after coming on in relief here in the top of the sixth for Alan Murphy. Murphy exited the game, giving up 7 hits and 4 earned runs. Utica threatening with runners on first and second. Here's the payoff. Cox swings it into center. Bailey racing in, and he's able to make the catch for out number 1 that keeps the runners put at first and second.
Now batting for the Blue Sox, their shortstop from Keystone College, number 4, Mohammed Hussein.
Mohammed Hussein, the shortstop, has been strong at the plate, 3 for 3, a pair of singles, a double, and an RBI to his name. So he'll try to advance the runners with 1 gone now after the pop up to center. Hussein swings at the first pitch he sees. It's high in the air to the second baseman, Graham, and he's able to make the catch, and just like that, there's 2 gone. Blue Sox trying to get something out of this inning after they got 2 men on with none gone. There's 2 gone now in the top of the 6th with Isaiah Torres at the plate.
Isaiah Torres.
Back of the 5th, Torres, a hard fly out to center. Dawson Bailey has seen plenty of action out there in center field tonight for the Pilots. As man misses with a fastball upstairs for ball 1. Three errors for the Pilots tonight, 2 for Utica. 1-0 count to Torres. Fastball misses low for ball 2. Isaiah Torres from Brooklyn, New York, plays his college baseball at Grambling State. This one gets away from Hernandez and allows the runners to advance as the catcher, Alex Hernandez, could not find it. And it's ball 3. It's a 3-0 count to Torres. Torres hitting .344 on the year, has 33 hits and 96 at-bats. Has been walked 14 times and struck out 12. There's a 3-0 count here to Zach Mann. See what Mann does with him. Oh, and Torres gets the green light to swing away, and he fouls it off right into his own foot. So he'll back out of the batter's box and shake it off. This is a 3-1 count. Joe Martinez, the head coach for Utica, down there at third, and he gave him the green light to swing. As Isaiah Torres seems to be okay. Runners on second and third for Utica with 2 gone here in the top of the 6th. Pilots leading 8-4. Man, ready to go with the 3-1 offering now. It's high and ball 4. Going close to finding the upstairs portion of the strike zone, but Mann walks the bases loaded, and now a mound visit here to Zach Mann as he tries to get himself out of the inning, but Utica threatening here in the top of the 6th. As in case you're just joining us, Dan Cooter here at Colburn Park tonight, as the Pilots welcome the Utica Blue Sox to town for the only meeting of the year between these 2 ball clubs. Blue Sox coming off a 7-2 loss back in Utica last night to Elmira. Pilots looking for their first back-to-back wins of this season after a big 9-4 win in the back end of a home-and-home with Watertown, and a 9-4 victory. Matt Walczak was able to pick up the win on the mound. Ty Babin had 4 RBIs, and the starting pitcher tonight for the Pilots, Alan Murphy, had a pair. It's the Blue Sox trying to cut into that Pilots lead. It's 8-4 right now. Man, oh, that one was high and inside to the catcher, Colton Bender, and he jumped out of the way. Man sends him the how do you do. Bender had to back out of the way of that one. Here's the 1-0 now. Swung on by Bender. Chopped down the third baseline, but foul. So he evens the count at 1-1. Colton Bender, 2 for 3 in the night with a pair of singles. Had one of those singles in the last inning in the top of the 5th when the Blue Sox were able to get 2 on the board. He was one of those 2 runs that came around to score for Utica. Here's the 1-1 now from Mann. It's a breaking ball that falls in there. Bender looks at it for strike 2. Zach Mann trying to get himself out of the jam here in the top of the 6th. He has Bender behind the count 1-2. Here's the offering. Swing and a miss, and a big strikeout for Zach Mann as the Blue Sox leave the bases loaded here in the top of the 6th, and the Pilots keep their 8-4 lead as we head to the home side here at Colburn Park. So Zach Mann works himself out of the top of the 6th and keeps the Pilots lead at 4. They lead 8 runs to 4 here at Colburn Park. It's the catcher Alex Hernandez leading things off in the bottom half of the 6th. He's 1 for 3, struck out his last plate appearance. He does have an RBI in the night. And for Leon Finney, he's back on the mound. He's been strong since taking over for Jacob Randolph. He's only given up 1 hit in 2 2/3 innings of work. It's the longest he's gone in a game with Utica this season. And as we mentioned, 2 1/3 was the longest he had gone previously as Hernandez chops one down to the third baseman. And the play over to first in time. And it's Reinhardt who is able to make it.
Now batting for the Pilots, the center fielder from Niagara University, number 11, Dawson Bailey.
Dawson Bailey, we've seen him with plenty of work in center field. The Porter, New York native is 0 for 3 in the evening. So with 1 gone here in the bottom half of the 6th, as we mentioned, Pilots batters have only gotten 1 hit off of Finney here since taking over for Jacob Randolph. They torched Randolph, who couldn't get out of the 3rd inning. He only went 2 1/3, giving up 10 hits and 8 runs, 6 of those earned, as he was chased from the mound early here at Colburn Park. Pilots have taken their foot off the gas a little bit after getting 5 back in the bottom half of the 3rd, scoreless in their last 2, as it's a 1-1 count to Bailey now. Bailey, he's been hovering around a 300 batting average for the majority of the season here at Newark. He's hitting 288 currently coming into tonight, as he's able to hold off and a ball outside from Finney evens the count up at 2-2. Bailey hitting 288 coming into tonight with 17 hits and 59 at-bats, making his 18th appearance of the year with the Pilots. Here's the 2-2 now. Swung on, so it was low. And Bailey's able to fight it off right into the backstop in front of us. Bailey, 5 RBIs on the year, has struck out 19 times. Here's the 2-2. Chopped right up the middle. Finney ducks out of the way, and it's a 1-out base hit. Only the second hit they've gotten off of Finney since coming in relief.
The right fielder from Cochise College, number 9, Jake Walter.
Bailey's first hit of the evening is a 1-out knock to center, and Leon Finney wanted no part of that as he ducked out of the way, and it skipped into center, and so it brings Jake Walter back to the plate. Walter hitting a even 300 coming in tonight with 9 hits and 30 at-bats as he makes his 10th appearance of the year with Newark. From East Greenbush, New York, plays his college baseball at Cochise. And he looks at strike 1 here from Finney. Walter was hitless in his last 2 coming in tonight, but has a pair of singles and is 2 for 3 with an RBI. Was his 7th RBI of the campaign. Ooh, that one in on the hands. But he goes around for strike 2. And so he's behind the count 0-2 now. Finney will reset on the mound with Bailey over at first. 1 gone here in the bottom half of the 6-0-2 count now to Jake Walter. 0-2 is low for ball 1. Walter has struck out 14 times on the season, has been walked 4. Finney into the windup with the 1-2. Runner going. Here's the throw from the knees, and it's not in time as Bailey has himself a stolen base. It was a ball from Finney, and so the count evens up at 2-2. For Dawson Bailey, his 5th. Jake Walter to knock in a run here. Big gap in left field. And the 2-2, it's a breaking ball. Walter holds off, and it's outside and low, and it evens or pushes the count full, pardon me, at 3-2. Playing on here in the bottom of the 6th, a 8-4 lead at Colburn Park for the Pilots. Looking to add on to it here. Here's the payoff from Finney. Swung on at the hands. Deep into center. Cox chasing it. It bobbles off of his glove, and it gets to the wall on the warning track. Cox throws it. Bailey will round third. Here's the throw from D-line. It's not in time. Bailey safe at home, and it's an RBI double for Jake Walter, and insurance runs for Newark as they lead 9-4 now.
Now batting for the Pilots, the shortstop from Central Michigan University, number 22, Xavier Warren.
Big night for Jake Walter, who is 3 for 4 with 2 RBIs now on the evening. As Dawson Bailey beats Xavier Warren, looks at strike 1 from Finney. Warren, 2 for 2 with an RBI, was walked his last plate appearance. It was a 1-1 count. This one's just outside. 2 balls and 1 strike now to the shortstop from Southfield, Michigan. And a mound visit here, as it's a 9-4 Pilots lead, and we'll see how long they let Finney go. This is the first real blemish that we've seen from him tonight. And as we mentioned, it's the longest he's pitched for Jacob Randolph. Pilots bats alive for the 2nd straight night as they tallied 9 runs in the 9-4 win over Watertown here at Colburn Park last evening. They've tallied 9 more, and we're still in the bottom half of the 6th. They lead Utica 9-4. So after the chat, Finney continues on the mound with a 2-1 count to Warren. Warren smacks one to center. It gets into the outfield. They're going to round Walter home. Oh, nope, never mind. Walter's going to come back. Now the throw down to second. Warren, he's not there in time as Bender snipes him at second for out number 2.
Now batting for the Pilots, the second baseman, St. John Fisher, number 12, Justin Graham.
So Xavier Warren trying to be sneaky, getting into second, but Colton Bender able to throw him out. Some disagreement from the Pilots dugout. Matt Colbert held up Walter at third. Probably a smart decision. That was an accurate throw by Cox, the center fielder home. That probably would have beat Jake Walter to the plate. But with 2 gone after the throw out at second, it's the bottom of the order with Justin Graham now. So Warren does get a hit, even though he is thrown out. 1-0 count to Graham. Swing and a miss. And now the throw down to third. Oh, they thought they had him. Walter just back in the nick of time as Colton Bender looking for back-to-back toss-outs. Colton Bender, the catcher from Lebanon, Connecticut, plays at Quinnipiac. Two for 4 on the evening. As Graham looks at ball 2, and it's a 2-1 count. Finney trying to get out of the inning here as the Pilots have tacked on another run in the bottom of the 6th. There's 2 gone, a 9-4 Newark lead. 2-1 count for Graham now. Holds off of the breaking ball that's high for ball 3. Hitters count for Graham with the 3-1. Outside for ball 4. 2-out walk for Finney, and there's runners on the corners for the Pilots now. Joe Martinez will make a mound visit, and that presumably is the end of the night for Leon Finney. Good one for Finney as he comes on in relief of Jacob Randolph. He doesn't give up any earned runs, but he does have a run he is responsible for. Over there on third, we'll get a new pitcher for Utica when we come back. A 9-4 Pilots lead with 2 gone here in the bottom half of the 6th. So a 2-out walk issued to Justin Graham by Leon Finney ends his night and brings Sam Galindo, the right-hander, into the game for the Utica Blue Sox, the third pitcher of the evening for Utica. And Galindo from Davenport, Florida, plays at Texas College. Just finished up his junior year, stands at 5'8", 170 on the mound. He makes his sixth appearance, all relief appearances for Utica. He's pitched 8 2/3 innings and has given up 16 hits with a 12.46 ERA. Top of the order now for the Pilots with Parker Tadlock. Tadlock is 2 for 4 with an RBI tonight. He grounded out back in the fourth inning. With 2 gone, runners at the corners for the Pilots. They lead 9-4 in the bottom of the sixth. Tadlock swings at the first pitch he sees from Galindo and pops it up foul for strike number 1. So an 0-1 count to the left fielder, Tadlock, now as he looks to extend the inning and put the Pilots up by more. They've gotten 1 here in the bottom of the sixth. Galindo with the sidearm breaking ball. Taking plenty of speed off of that one, but Tadlock not fooled by it. It's a 1-1 count. Galindo with a fastball now. He misses upstairs for 2 straight balls and a 2-1 count to Tadlock now. Tadlock swings on this one, hits it hard into right center. Cox is back there to make the catch, however. And so the Pilots strand 2 in the bottom half of the sixth, but they get 1 more and lead the Utica Blue Sox 9-4 as we head to the top of the seventh here at Colburn Park. Pilots tack on another run in the bottom half of the sixth and make the Blue Sox job just a little bit harder as they trail 9-4 heading into the seventh. It's the first baseman, Nico Ramos, leading things off. He's 1 for 3, had an RBI back in the fifth inning. As the Blue Sox were able to get 2 back in that top half of the fifth. Zach Mann worked himself into the bases loaded, but was able to get out of the inning unscathed. So he gets a big swing and a miss, and he's ahead in the count 0-2 to Ramos now. Pilots doubling up the Blue Sox in the hit count, 14-7. As a strikeout for Mann to start things off in the top of the seventh.
Now batting for the Blue Sox, the left fielder from Andrew College, number 21, L.J. Bryant.
L.J. Bryant, the left fielder, as it's the 5-6-7 hitters here for Utica. Ramos, the fifth hitter, just sent down on strikes. As a breaking ball in there for strike one from Zach Mann. Bryant is 0 for 2 at a sac fly in the fifth to drive in a run. He picked up an RBI. 0-1. Bryant able to hold off, it appears, and he did, as it's 1 ball and 1 strike. 3 errors tonight for Newark, 2 for Utica. And a 1-1 count as the breaking ball is inside for ball 2 to Bryant. Bryant and a 250 coming into tonight's contest. As he looks at ball 3, head high. And a 3-1 count to L.J. Bryant, who plays at Andrew College from Leesburg, Georgia. He makes his 20th appearance of the year with the Utica Blue Sox. Has 10 hits and 40 at-bats. 2 home runs and 8 RBIs for the left fielder. 3-1 count and another ball from Mann. Jerry Reinhardt, who is 0 for 3 and struck out back in the 5th inning, will come back to the plate. He has a runner over on first after the 1-out walk issued by Zach Mann. Reinhardt, the third baseman tonight for the Blue Sox, batting .129 on the year. Reinhardt last appeared on July 7th in the 6-1 win at Adirondack, as he was 1 for 2. Came across to score once for the Blue Sox. Has a 1-0 count as Mann missed for ball 1. It's another one inside as Zach Mann trying to work the inside part of the plate, but not succeeding here, as it's 2 balls now to Reinhardt. Reinhardt from Batavia, New York, plays at Mercer Community College. Ready with the 2-0. This is again from Mann. And struggling to find his command now here in the top of the 7th. With 1 gone, he's already walked a batter and in danger of walking a consecutive one with a 3-0 count to Reinhardt. Mann can't find the strike zone. And it's a 4-pitch walk from Zach Mann, and it issues a mound visit from his catcher, Alex Hernandez.
Second baseman from Central Alabama Community College, number 11, Luis De Leon.
So after retiring Ramos with a strikeout, he's walked 2 consecutive batters. That one was with 4 straight pitches. One of them close to finding the strike zone. And with 1 gone, there's runners on first and second for Utica. They trail 9-4 here in the top of the 7th. Pilots did most of their damage in the first 3 innings, where they tallied 8 runs. They got 1 back in the 6th. As Mann finally finds the strike zone again for strike 1 to the second baseman, De Leon. De Leon, 0 for 3, was able to reach on an error his last plate appearance. This one in the dirt. Hernandez can't find it. Runners are both taken off. Here's the throw to second. Graham, the tag. Got him. Out number 2. An aggressive play by Reinhardt, as he held up for a second, realized Hernandez didn't have the ball, tried to take off, but a bad judgment call as Hernandez threw him out at second. Bryant does get down to third, and now there's a base hit into left, and it brings home a run. Good hit by De Leon as he smacks it into left. It's a 9-4 ball game now. Second out does hurt Utica, though, as it could have been just 1 gone and could have had another runner over on third. But they do get 1 back here in the top of the 7th and trail. Stazak fouls out the first pitch he sees into the backstop for strike 1. De Leon from Providence, Rhode Island, is batting .353 coming into the game tonight. Picks up his 7th RBI this season. Runner is going. Here's the throw, and it won't come from Hernandez as he had to pump it. As DeLeon gets into second. DeLeon didn't have any stolen bases coming into the game tonight. There was never a throw there from Hernandez. A 1-1 count to Stazak. Swings on this one in the dirt for strike 2. This man gets ahead now, 1-2. Stazak, 4 RBIs on the season for him with 5 hits and 27 at evens to count at 2-2. Stazak hitless in his last 5 games. Try to change that with a 2-2 count. He swings and misses. Zach Mann gets a strikeout, gives up a run, and strands a runner here in the top of the 7th. We'll stretch it out at Colburn Park as the Pilots lead the Blue Sox 9-5. Dan Cooter on the call here at Colburn Park tonight on Newark Pilots TV. It's a 9-4 Newark lead. And another pitcher for the Utica Blue Sox. It's the left-hander, number 29, Ryan Christopher on the mound. He makes his 4th appearance of the year. Christopher hasn't appeared in a game for the Blue Sox since July 3rd in a 10-4 loss to Mohawk Valley. Matter of fact, all 3 of his appearances have come against Mohawk Valley, so he finally gets a chance to see a different team as DeSantolo is behind in the count 0-2 to lead things off in the bottom half of the 7th. Christopher in his last appearance gave up an earned run on 2 hits. He didn't last long, only went a third of an inning against Mohawk Valley. The 0-2 to DeSantolo. It's a breaking ball that misses well outside. DeSantolo able to hold off. So it's 1 ball and 2 strikes to the first baseman from Tampa, Florida. Christopher misses with a pair of pitches outside to even the count up at 2-2 now. Two-two offering now from Christopher. Swung on and hit foul by DeSantolo. Keeps the count all square. DeSantolo 2 for 3 in the night with an RBI. Struck out back in the 5th inning. Has been hit by a pitch as well. Pilots have tallied up 14 hits and 9 runs so far in this one. Christopher tosses in another ball, and it runs the count full to DeSantolo as he leads things off here Friday as DeSantolo goes around for strike 3 and out number 1.
The designated hitter from Campbell University, number 16, Ty Babin.
Ty Babin, after the 4 RBI night in the 9-4 win over Watertown here at Colburn Park last evening, is 0 for 3 on the night. Was able to reach way back in the 1st on a walk. Will come around to score. So Christopher gets the K after coming on for Galindo. And the DH Babin at the plate. Babin able to hold off on a fastball that can't catch the outside corner for ball 1. Babin standing on that left side of the plate at 200. Saw him catch last night in the DH spot here this evening. Babin just went off the top of the barrel and sent for strike 1, a 2-1 count, as there's 1 gone here in the bottom half of the 7th now. Babin, as we mentioned, in the 250 coming into tonight. He lays off on a ball outside and gets himself into a hitter's count at 3-1. He had 40 at-bats and 10 hits. And has had 2 really big games. As mentioned, 3 for 4 with 4 RBIs last night. And then back in the 10-1 win at Elmira, had 3 RBIs and was 2 for 4. He has tallied up 9 RBIs on this season. He looks at strike 2 from Christopher, so the count pushes full. Babin able to hold off on that one as it was low and away, so it's a 1-out walk issued by Ryan Christopher.
The third baseman from Columbia University, number 3, Matt Zerfolio.
And brings the third baseman Matt Zerfolio back to the plate. He has 2 RBIs tonight. It was an RBI double way back in the 1st that kicked off the game for Newark, as they got 2 in the 1st, 5 more in the 3rd that have really propelled them out to this 9-4 lead. Second time Ty Babin has been able to draw a walk this evening. Christopher catches this one with the inside part of the plate. Zerfolio looks at it for strike number 1. Zerfolio chops one down to the third baseman, Reinhardt. He bobbles it. He'll go to first, and he gets the out on Zerfolio. So after the bobble, Reinhardt able to make the play, but it does advance Babin to second with 2 gone now.
Number 6, Alex Hernandez.
Alex Hernandez, the catcher for tonight, comes back to the plate. And an RBI single back in the third inning. Ty Babin over in scoring position after Reinhardt had to go down to first after bobbling the ball down at third. Breaking ball from Ryan Christopher is in there for strike one, trying to keep a clean score line here in the bottom half of the seventh. Give his Blue Sox a chance as they have 6 outs left in the 8 and 9 innings, down 9-5. 0-1 swung on. It'll be down to short with Hussey, and he's able to make the play over to first in time for out number 3. And so the Pilots strand one here in the bottom half of the seventh and still lead 9-5. We'll head to the 8th with Blue Sox due back up when we return here on NewarkPilots.tv. Top of the order for the Blue Sox, pardon me. So we had at the top of the 8th as they'll try to start the comeback. They trail the Pilots 9-5. He now hit 14-8. The right-hander Jacob Polishak taking over on the mound. And the center fielder Cox back at the plate, 1 for 4. And a double the lead off the game way back in the first. Has grounded out and flew out his last 2 plate appearances. A 1-0 count as Polishak misses with the first pitch. Now big whiff from Cox moves the count even at 1-1. Polishak from Frederick, Maryland, plays his college baseball in Millersville. Is a 9.25 ERA on the season. His last appearance came back on July 7th as Cox sends one left. It's a blooper. Charging in is Tadlock, the speedy Tadlock, able to make the play for out number 1. Polishak in that appearance. It was a 7-6 win for Jamestown. He pitched an inning, giving up 3 runs and 2 hits. Issued a walk and had 2 strikeouts in the game. So after the fly out that Parker Tadlock in shallow left was able to come in and make the play, there's one gone, and the shortstop Hussian is at the plate. Hussian is 3 for 3 with an RBI. He flew out his last time up, 3 for 4, pardon me, after his fly and foul, and is quickly behind 0-2. O2 count as Polishak will offer it. It's a breaking ball, and it's a swing and a miss from Hussian, and there's quickly 2 gone in the top of the 8th as Polishak has done his job. Coming on in relief for Zach Mann, it was the right-hander Alan Murphy from Richburg, New York, who started off this game. He pitched 5 innings before Zach Mann came in. It's Jacob Polishak trying to close this one out. We'll see if he comes back in the 9th, but he has quickly 2 gone with Isaiah Torres, the DH for the night, at the plate. Ooh, he wanted to go around on that one. Did he? No, he did not. And so it's ball 1. It's a breaking ball. Almost got him to go around, but he's able to hold off for ball 1. Torres is 0 for 3, was able to reach on a walk his last plate appearance as Polishak able to find the inside corner, and it evens the count up at 1-1. There's 2 gone now here in the top of the 8th. Pilots lead 9-5. 1-1. Paints the outside corner as Polishak and gets ahead in the count 1-2, looking for a 1-2-3 inning and get the Blue Sox down to their final 3 outs here at Colburn Park. The only meeting between the 2 teams this year. The 1-2, chop down the first baseline. Able to field it as D. Santola. He'll tag up, and it's a 1-2-3 inning for Jacob Polishak in the top of the 8th. Pilots lead 9-5. We'll head to the home side of the 8th when we come back here on Newark Pilots TV. Nine 5 Pilots lead as we head to the bottom half of the 8th. Pilots just looking for a couple of more insurance runs. And Ryan Christopher, the left-hander, is back on the mound for Utica. It'll be the 4, 5, 6 hitters in the middle of the order for Utica when they come back up with their final 3 outs in the top half of the 9th. It's Dawson Bailey with the 6, 7, 8 hitters for the Pilots here in the bottom half of the 8th. The 1-0 count as Bailey sends one off the top of the bat and foul right in front of us here in the backstop. Bailey able to hold off of the breaking ball low from Christopher, so it's 2 balls and 1 strike. Christopher able to find a fastball upstairs. Evens the count at 2-2. Pilots are idle tomorrow on a Wednesday of baseball in the Perfect Game League. Utica will return home, where the Central Division leading Mohawk Valley Diamond Dogs will come to town. An important matchup for Utica. This one inside, and Bailey able to suck in the gut on that one. It gets the count full at 3-2. Pilots will take to the road as they head to Dunfield and Elmira for a visit with the Pioneers on Thursday before returning home for a game with Geneva. Bailey looks at strike 3 from Dawson Bailey in the outside corner. Bailey goes down on strikes. Pretty sure I said that one wrong. One gone now as Bailey looks at strike 3. And Jake Walter, who has had a big night at the plate, is 3 for 4 with a pair of RBIs. Strike 1 from Christopher as there's one gone in the bottom half of the 8th now. Big swing and a miss from Walter quickly has him behind 0-2. In there on the inside corner for strike 3. Some disagreement from both Walter and Bailey, but they both look at strike 3, and so there's 2 gone here in the bottom of the 8th now. With Xavier Warren at the plate, he is 3 for 3 with an RBI. He got caught trying to get into second after his hit into center field. He was thrown out by Bender after Cox made the throw home. They kept Walter at third. He then threw down to second and got Walter on the pickoff play. As a ball is in the dirt, it gets by the catcher Bender for ball 1. So your Pilots will not be back here at Coburn Park until Friday evening when they take Geneva on the front end of a home and home. They'll head to Madonna Park on Saturday. As a doubleheader with Albany is the only out-of-division matchup left in the Pilots' schedule, as we'll see a lot of Geneva, Elmira, and Jamestown in the closing weeks here in July, as the Perfect Game League will wrap up at the end of the calendar month of July. It's a 3-0 count to Warren. Christopher will try to find the strike zone. Warren taking all the way, able to hold off the switch hitter from Southfield, Michigan, plays at Central Michigan. 3-1 count for him now after Christopher finds the strike zone. Pair of strikes pushes the count full. First couple innings were pretty much all the Pilots needed as they tallied 8 in the first 3. They've gotten 1 more in the 6th and have sat back and have a 9-5 lead now. In the dirt, Warren holds off for ball 4 and issues a 2-out walk from Christopher.
Now batting for your Newark Pilots, the second baseman from St. John Fisher, number 12, Justin Graham.
Bottom of the order with Justin Graham, the second baseman, back at the plate. Was able to reach on a walk back in the 6th. Is 0 for 3 with a pair of strikeouts. He shows bunt here, but backs off for ball 1. Swung on Graham into real shallow center, and it's going to drop in between the shortstop and Cox, the center fielder. Hussey, and it would have been a football catch if he would have been able to make that, as he was looking over his right shoulder. And it plops in for a base hit with 2 gone. Runners at the corners for Newark now. first hit of the evening for Justin Graham. Parker Tadlock is 2 for 5 on the evening with a pair of singles and an RBI. The left fielder from Georgetown, Texas, another multi-hit game for himself. And a 9-5 Pilots lead. Blue Sox will have to try and find 4 runs in the top of the 9th with their 4, 5, 6 hitters. Runners at the corners with Tadlock now at the plate. He hits one into right field, and he gets himself another RBI as Warren comes home to score. And Pilots into double digits as they lead 10-5.
Now batting for your Newark Pilots, the first baseman from Florida Atlantic University, number 31, Jared DeSantolo.
Second RBI single of the game for Parker Tadlock. 16th hit of the evening for Newark. And they lead 10-5 now. Runners at first and second after the RBI single brings Jared DeSantolo to the plate. He is 2 for 4 on the evening, has an RBI as well. Looks at strike one from the left-hander Christopher here. So Utica gives up 15 hits last night in the 7-2 loss to Elmira. 16 more here tonight to Newark. As the Pilots inching closer to their 10th win of the season. It's a 0-2 count to DeSantolo after looking at a pair of strikes from Christopher. The 0-2 can't catch the outside corner as DeSantolo looks at it. Go by for ball 1. One-two count. Christopher with the delivery. Swung on foul right past the third base line where Matt Colbert stands. So the count remains at 1-2. As Christopher still looking for the final out of the inning here in the bottom half of the 8th. This one hit up center by DeSantolo. Graham will round third. Here's the throw from Cox home, and he is safe for run number 11. And another RBI for Jared DeSantolo. So with 2 outs, Christopher can't get himself out of the inning, and the Pilots pick up a pair of runs in the bottom of the 8th to cushion that lead, as it's now a 6-run lead. It looked like it was going to be smooth sailing for Christopher after he got the first 2 batters looking for strike 3 in succession, but Pilots' bats come to life against Christopher, and they add 2 more. Tadlock and DeSantolo picking up a pair of RBIs respectively. Ty Babb in the DH. Looking for his first hit of the evening. Runners on first and second once again with 2 gone. As Justin Graham came home to score from second. Now Babin hits one hard down the right field line. Off the wall and fair. Tadlock will come home to score. DeSantolo comes into third. He's going to come home. Here's the throw. Bender will tag him. And so the Pilots get another run as Babin gets an RBI, and it's a 12-5 lead. Blue Sox down to their final 3 outs. They trail 12-5 here at Colburn Park.
Now batting for the Blue Sox, the catcher out of Utica University, number 5, Colton Bender.
12-5 lead for the Pilots. Jacob Polishek will be back on the mound to try and end this one cleanly. As Pilots will need it. Blue Sox will need an impressive comeback if they want to pick up win number 16. Otherwise, they will fall to 15 and 16 on the year. As this one caught on the hop by Warren, a good one, and a hard throw over to first. Retires the leadoff man. For the Blue Sox, as we mentioned, they will return home tomorrow night to face the Mohawk Valley Diamond Dogs. Pilots are idle tomorrow on Wednesday and then head to Elmira for a Thursday night contest with Western Division foe Elmira Pioneers at Dunn Field. So Blue Sox down to their final 2 outs here tonight. Pilots, unless something crazy happens, will finish the night with 18 hits. A season high for them. Nick Ramos looks at ball 1 in the dirt from Jacob Polishek. Ramos is 1 for 4 with an RBI to his name tonight. So he looks at 2 straight balls from Polishek. Utica with 8 hits and 2 errors tonight. Ooh, a big swing and a miss from Ramos there. Looks like he might lose the bat on that one. It's a 2-1 count now. Two-one offering. Ramos goes around as Polishek lost his footing on the mound, but he gets the called strike, and it works the count even to 2-2. Here's the 2-2 offering. It's in the dirt, and Ramos holds off and moves the count full. And the windup with the payoff now is Polishek, and it's low, and it's a 1-out walk.
Now batting for the Blue Sox, the left fielder of Andrew College, number 21, L.J. Bryant.
So the 1-out walk issued by Polishek brings the left fielder L.J. Bryant back to the plate. He was walked back in the 7th, would come around to score the only run of the inning for the Blue Sox. Bryant looks at strike 1 from Polishek. The 0-1 after the check down to first. In the hands, it'll be a ball. One count. Big swing and a miss for Bryant. He's behind now 1-2. It looked like the Blue Sox were going to make a game of it way back in the top of the first when they got 2 runs to start off the game. But the Pilots just went crazy from there on out. So they got 5 in the 3rd and 8 in the first 3 innings altogether. Bryant looks at strike 3 from Polishek as the Blue Sox are down to their final out of the game now. Pilots will move to 10-19 on the season, as only to string a couple of wins together here to try and stay in playoff contention. As we mentioned, Blue Sox will fall to 15-16 on the season. Polishek finds the inside corner for strike 1 to the third baseman tonight, Jerry Reinhardt. Reinhardt 0 for 3 was able to reach on a walk back in the 7th inning. This one high and at the head of Reinhardt, ducks out of the way for ball 1. The 1-out walk still over on first. It's Nico Ramos. As here's the 1-1. It's high. As Reinhardt lays off. It's 2 balls and 1 strike. Three straight balls from Polishak as it's a 3-1 count to Reinhardt now with 2 gone here in the top of the 9th. Pilots looking to close in. Back-to-back wins for the first time this season. They lead 12-5. (3-1) hit high in the air. Graham and Warren come together. Warren calls Graham off and makes the catch for the final out of the game. Back-to-back wins for the Pilots as they defeat the Utica Blue Sox 12-5. They out-hit the Blue Sox 18-8 as the offensive bats come to Colburn Park for the second night straight. Pilots pick up their 10th win of the year. They move to 10-19 in the season. Blue Sox fall to 15-16. Pilots back home against Geneva on Friday night. I'm Dan Cooter saying so long from here at Colburn Park. It's a Pilots victory. Thanks for joining us here on Newark Pilots TV.